Promised, a blast from the past. Today we're going to bring you some nostalgia from the icon, the person that the Wellness Week is named after, the Weiner Wellness Week here at the World of Wellness, the icon Dr. James Weiner from 2014. Here he is on weight loss. Enjoy.
My name is Dr. James Weiner. You're at the Weiner Wellness Center located at 2419 Baldwick Road, Pittsburgh 15205. Our phone number 412-922-WELL. Our website is drweiner.com, drwiner.com. We're also on Facebook, Weiner Wellness Center, and James Weiner. There's two different pages there. We're also on Twitter. Anyone do Twitter here? Twitter, we're at Dr. James Weiner. You can join Twitter for free at twitter.com. Okay, who wants to lose weight? Okay. You know, Americans are very overweight. They estimate at least half the population's overweight. Now, this is in contrast to other countries. Some of you know I went to the University of Paris, Université de Paris, in Paris, France. And when I lived there, it was very rare to see a fat French person. Usually, if you saw fat people in the street, it was a tourist from Germany or America. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons I think why is because the food in France is much more nutritious. It's not just the French cooks who know how to really cook French cuisine, but it's that their produce is grown on organically grown soil. They do not have the pesticides, and so they're getting a lot more nutrients. So they don't have to overeat. What happens in the United States is a lot of people overeat because their body is still craving nutrients that are not found in sufficient quantities in their food. Then we have a thing called trans fats. Trans fats are illegal in France. Trans fats are artificial fats that do not exist in nature. They're made in a factory. And your body has no way to break down the trans fats. And so what happens consequently? They float around, they clog your arteries, and actually can cause heart attacks and strokes. Or they just collect in your tissues and cause cellulitis and fat accumulation. And trans fats are in a lot of things. It's in a lot of baked goods. If you're using margarine or Crisco, that's trans fat. Deep fried foods, usually cooked in trans fats. And it's ironic because years ago they used to say, well, if you use margarine, that would be better than butter because butter has cholesterol, and cholesterol causes heart disease. But there's this thing called the French paradox, where French people eat a lot of cholesterol, and yet they have very little heart disease. It's not a paradox. Cholesterol has very little to do with heart disease. But that myth persists, and a lot of people are on cholesterol medication. Anyone here on cholesterol medication? Okay. Cholesterol medication has many side effects, including congestive heart failure. One of the side effects of cholesterol medication is to ruin your heart. Plus it causes Alzheimer's disease, liver damage, muscle pain, cancer, sugar diabetes, mellitus. We have articles, a whole cancer, a whole cholesterol packet right opposite the food table on the other side here. You should pick that up before you leave. The facts on cholesterol. So cholesterol is a necessary nutrient. You'd be dead without it. So there's a lot of myths about body composition. First of all, weight loss is not really the goal by itself, because if you go on some of the commercial products, whose names I will not mention, but one of them is actually just two words, the opposite of fat and the opposite of slow, you will lose weight, but you're going to lose muscle mass. So it's not just a matter of losing weight, but it's what are you losing? Okay, what you may be losing is muscle mass rather than fat. So what happened to me was I got fat. I weighed 140 pounds when I graduated college back in 1969. And then a few years ago, I was up to 235. I was almost 100 pounds more. And the embarrassing moment came when I was in Shipshewana, the state of Indiana, giving a lecture, and then I opened it up to question and answer. Guy raises his hand, he says, Dr. Weiner, if you're so healthy, how come you're so fat? I had a 40-inch waist, and you know, he was right. I wasn't eating bad food, I was just eating too much food and eating at the wrong time. How many people are guilty of skipping meals, especially breakfast? This is very bad for your metabolism, the rate at which you burn food. I was in San Francisco for a health conference some years ago, and I got to the room right around 5 o'clock. I turned on the TV, they had the 5 o'clock news, and they happened to have the first ever international sumo wrestler competition in San Francisco. Up until then, they had always been in Japan. And they did this little documentary, why are these guys so fat? You know, they weigh 600-700 pounds. You know how they get fat? Eating rice. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, rice is low calorie. What they do is they go the whole day without eating, and then they eat a couple bowls of rice and go to sleep. So they've screwed up their metabolism so that their body thinks it's in a starvation mode, and it slows down the rate at which it burns even something as innocent as rice. So you don't want to do that. It's not good for your health, and it'll screw up your thermostat, the rate at which you burn food. So you need to have something to eat in the morning. You need to have something to eat in the afternoon, something to eat in the evening. The calories do count. How many people know what calories are? Anyone have an idea what the definition of a calorie is? Okay, what's a calorie?
Well, that's
You got it.
no, the less calories you consume, the better off. The
Yeah.
more,
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, calories are a unit of heat. And so actually, when we're talking about human calories, we're talking about a kilocalorie or 1,000 regular calories. And so they can tell you how much heat is produced, how much energy is produced in different foods. The highest calorie foods are fats, oils and fats. Okay, proteins and carbohydrates are far less caloric in nature. So a pound of fat is 3,500 kilocalories. 3,500, let's just call them calories, but we know we're talking about kilocalories. So if you want to lose a pound of fat a week, how many excess calories do you have to burn every day? 7 and 3,500, it's 500. So you have to have a deficit of 500 calories a day, meaning you have to eat 500 less calories than you burn up. And actually, you only burn up about 1,200 calories a day during normal activity. Okay? So you'd either have to drop to 700 calories a day, which is not that healthy, or you would have to increase your calorie consumption of, utilization, I should say, not consumption, utilization by exercise. Now, if you're on a treadmill, you're going to burn up between 300 to 350 calories in an hour. So what happened was, I tried dieting, and it did work to a certain extent. But then Jamie told me you really need to do exercise, Dr. Weiner. So one day I got very serious. It was a Saturday, and I drove out to LA Fitness over in Robinson, and I signed up. It was interesting. The first trainer I had, he said, I really don't think this is going to work for you. You're like 64 years old. You're fat. And he says, most people that sign up, they come for a week or two and then they drop out. So that's why we charge by the month, because, second month you're probably not going to be here, so you want to pay for the month. And he said, and you're a vegetarian. He said, that's going to be really difficult, because when I tell people to lose weight, I tell them eat meat, more meat, and you don't eat any meat. You don't eat chicken. You don't eat any fish. You don't eat any turkey. You don't eat any bacon or pork. How are you going to lose weight? Well, in 5 weeks, I lost 20 pounds. He became a believer. First of all, I went there almost every day. Second of all, I really curtailed the carbohydrates. We have a book there for sale called Wheat Belly. And I do believe the carbohydrates are another problem along with fats. Okay? Now, the thing is you need nutrition. You can't just cut down the calories because then you're not going to get enough nutrition. You need to eat something low calorie but very nutrient dense. So we've put together a whole bunch of products. The principal one is Super Shake. Now at this juncture, what I'm going to do here is we're going to pass out. If there's extra, just give them back to me because we're going to short on this. This is body composition. So if we can pass this out into the people behind you, and here we go. All right, so we put together a product called Super Shake. There's some exciting things about this. First of all, unlike that product that I mentioned a moment ago, it has 24 grams of protein per scoop. The average person probably only needs 30 to 40 a day. You take 2 scoops of this over the course of a day, you're going to get plenty of protein. People are always saying to me, you're a vegetarian, where do you get your protein? Super Shake. It is wheat-free, dairy-free, soy-free. Okay, so it's low allergenicity. It's made out of PEA protein, rice protein, and pumpkin protein. And it's only about 135 to 140 calories. Comes in 6 different flavors if you want variety. So what I do is that I mix up the Super Shake, and I do add the reds, purples, and greens. So we have samples over there. If we want to taste it, we have them already pre-mixed. And I eat 2 of those a day and then 1 regular meal. And so I end up losing 70 pounds. My body fat index went from 35% to 12%. And I gained muscle mass from the exercise and having enough protein. So you can do this. And the thing is, if you get the nutrients from the Super Shake, and then if you add the reds, purples, and greens, it's like having fruits and vegetables. You know, the powders, you mix them all in here with water. You're getting a complete meal, and you're going to digest and absorb a much higher percentage than you would if you were just eating food. Plus, it's very cost effective, especially this week because we're giving you 30% off all these products. So you're actually going to save money. You're going to get healthier probably because you're going to get all these nutrients, all these nutrient-dense powders, and you can lose weight or maintain your weight. Now, if you don't want to lose weight, you still can use this because this is a great protein supplement. Because one of the problems of people over the age of 40 is called sarcopenia. Anyone know what that means, sarcopenia? No, it means muscle loss. This is a very common thing. People losing their muscles, even if they're not dieting. This is a common thing that can happen with aging. So what you want to do is make sure you have enough protein so that you don't start eating up your own muscles. So this can be a nutritional supplement. How about people in the hospital? You know, they did a study some years ago and they found out that anyone who's in a hospital more than 3 weeks is malnourished. No surprise there. They think everyone has a Jell-O deficiency. Ever see what they're serving people in a hospital? If you want to understand why the medical field is clueless about nutrition, first of all, learn that the vast majority of their education is controlled and funded by the drug companies, so they just use artificial chemicals to try to treat symptoms. And then if you want proof of it, just go to a hospital. Hospitals are very sick places to be. It's a bad place to be if you're sick. Because first of all, how are you going to get healthy on Jell-O and canned vegetables and white flour products and margarine and ice cream, commercial ice cream. I mean, that's what they serve people. It's deplorable. And of course, there's germs in the hospital you can't find anywhere else in town. You know, I've had numerous patients die of MRSA. The one guy, he caught a cold, and it was a weekend. He figured we were closed on Saturday, which we're not. So he thought, well, get some antibiotics, which of course don't work against colds and flus anyhow, but he didn't realize that. He went to a suburban hospital, and of course, they need to fill up those beds, and this guy had Medicare. Hey, they can get away with filling up that bed. You know, it's like a hotel. The more beds they got filled, they got the same staff, so they got the same overhead, but can get another 10, 15 bodies in there, they can get thousands of dollars more a day. So they said, we should put you in for a few days, and guess what? He never came out. He caught MRSA in the hospital, and he was one of 8 people that died during that 2-week period in the hospital, and there was nothing wrong with the guy. He drove there under his own power to try to get a script for antibiotics. So hospitals are a bad place to be when you're sick. They're not too healthy when you're not sick. I always think it's funny that people will visit friends or relatives in the hospital, and they'll say, okay, I'm going to go to the cafeteria for lunch. You've got the air conditioning system blowing the germs all over the whole place. They're landing on that cafeteria food. I wouldn't eat there. Okay, so 2 basic facts. You've got to burn up more than you consume in calories, right? And you still have to get the proper nutrition. And that's why the Super Shake, especially if you combine it with the reds, purples, and greens, are a great way to do it. Now, there are some adjunct products that are mentioned in the body composition solutions that I use. One is called Baritone. You've probably heard of this guy, Dr. Oz. When Dr. Oz speaks, everyone listens. There are 4 ingredients that he was promoted a few years ago for weight loss. They are in the Baritone, all 4 of them. Red raspberry ketone, African mango, green tea extract, green coffee bean extract. Also, there's a product called Tonylene, which is conjugated linolenic acid. And this by itself, if you take 4 Tonylene a day, can make you lose a pound of belly fat a month. So if you did nothing else, had the same activity level, same calorie intake, you'd lose 12 pounds of belly fat a year, which is where most people want to lose it. Then we have Garcinia Cambogia, which is another wonder herb that can help you lose appetite and help you lose weight. It's not mentioned, I don't think, in the body composition solutions, but it's Garcinia Cambogia. We have that here as well. So what I do is I do super shakes throughout the day, and I always have a salad a day. And for example, upstairs they have catered food for the staff members here, so they don't have to run out and look for food, because we're just too busy for them to take an hour off. And we have this wonderful green salad I just had before I came down here. I use no salad dressing, because there might have be 400 or 500 calories in the salad dressing. Plus, it makes it hard to digest. You get all that oil all over the salad. So I eat salads raw without any dressing. Now, if you want to cheat, maybe use just a pinch of olive oil and lemon juice or vinegar, you know, or we have the Bragg's amino acids you can spray on it. But you got to watch out for the calories and the salad dressing. Then bread, as I told you, we have this book called Wheat Belly. I think it's a good idea to minimize the wheat. Then we have the whole concept of food allergies, food sensitivities. In fact, there was a doctor that we used to have speak at our health expos years ago when I put them on, Dr. Marshall Mandel, MD from Connecticut. And he wrote a book, It's Not Your Fault, You're Fat. And he found that a lot of people gain weight because they're eating foods they're allergic to. Now, we do food and environmental allergy testing here. We do not do scratch tests or blood work for food allergies. We do blood work for other things. We write your script, and we don't do the work here. We just give you the script and you go to the lab. But I have found the most accurate way to determine food sensitivities is through muscle testing or through some of our electronic equipment, not through scratch tests or blood work. So you may be eating foods that are causing you to gain weight or have all kinds of other symptoms. We have wonderful articles there about people with rheumatoid arthritis from food allergies, migraines from arthritis. behavior problems, attention deficit, autism. A lot of different conditions are related to food allergies. So we have the Super Shake. You can add the reds, greens, and purples. You can take the Tonaline, Garcinia Cambogia, Berry Tone. Do some exercise every day. In wintertime, you can go to mall and walk. You know, if you're not into heavy exercise. Skip late night eating. That's another no-no. You know, that's like the sumo wrestler diet. You don't want to eat anything within 2 hours of going to sleep. As I mentioned before, you don't want to skip meals. Okay, we're going to open this up to questions now. Now, you don't have to limit yourself to talk about weight loss or body composition. And then in about 10 minutes, we're going to have the first drawing. And they told me that the winner needs to be present, so we'll announce it all through the building. Any of you that bought anything, you probably got some tickets. Any questions?
Dr. Meyer,
Yes, sir.
I take iodine plus. I take iodine plus for my thyroid gland. But I've been diagnosed as hypothyroidism.
Yeah, hypo is low thyroid.
Right.
So that I would take 3 a day, stay off fluoridated toothpaste, stay off fluoridated water. And in fact, that's another thing that probably helped me lose weight was taking iodine, and it actually helps to grow hair. We have pictures of people who lost their hair and they started taking our iodine plus and grew their hair back. So yeah, if you're hypothyroid, the Synthroid doesn't work very well because it's synthetic.
They want to be on thyroxine.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Levothyroxine or Synthroid is T4, and your body has to convert it to T3, and most people can't do it, so it doesn't work very well. And all levothyroxine has aluminum dye except the 50 microgram, and that presents other problems because it causes breakdown of connective tissue in your skin. We had a lady, her hands were peeling, and ended up being the aluminum dye in her levothyroxine. Other questions? Good question.
How much of this Tonaline do you take? How much Tonaline?
Tonaline, I'd recommend 4 a day.
Or this well spread?
Yeah. You can mix it up among your meals. And of course, Super Shake counts as a meal. Other questions? No one has any health problems here?
I know, I use your Pro Red, Pro Purple, Pro Greens, and I put my vitamins, I say get in the mix all one time. Is that okay?
Yeah, he takes the reds, purples, and greens with his vitamins. Yeah, well, it's food. It's a good way to take it. Yes?
I've been diagnosed as hypertension, high blood pressure.
High blood pressure. Do you drink coffee, tea, or soda pop?
I think yes. I don't drink soda pop. I drink coffee in the morning.
Yeah, I would cut out the coffee. We do have the 7 flowers, which is a good stopgap. You could start with 6 a day.
Okay.
Also, magnesium is very useful, like Magnesium Complete. Do you eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, you have to understand something about high blood pressure. They've lowered the numbers, not based on science, based on sales. The lower the number, the more people fall above that number. The same thing with cholesterol. It's, you know, cholesterol, the normal used to be 300. Now they say it's 200. You know how that happened? It happened in a card game. Doctors that worked for one of the big drug manufacturers were trying to figure out how to sell more cholesterol medication. They figured out, let's just lower the numbers. No science involved whatsoever. Yes, sir.
I have a friend that has had 2 knee replacements, same leg,
A friend had 2 knee replacements on the same knee.
same knee. I'm wanting to give her a third one now because somehow it's not working right.
Well, you know, now the knee's not there. We've had a lot of people avoid knee replacement surgery by taking our HA Plus and having some trigger point therapy because the muscles can cause joint dysfunction and joint pain. But you know, if they've had the knee chopped up, there's not much I can do for them. I mean, we can work on the muscles, that may help, but you know, the joint's gone. But if they didn't do that, the HA Plus might have restored the joint. I injured my knee 30 years ago and I was on crutches for 6 months. You know, and I say I can hop up and down. I don't have any problem with my knees now. You know, I can bend down, get down. Yeah, they wanted to start cutting cartilage out, which is a very bad idea. They keep cutting the cartilage out, and eventually they cut the whole knee out. And you have to understand, they never use a less profitable procedure or product when there's a more profitable procedure or product involved. Ebola virus, you can cure it with $1 worth of hydrogen peroxide. They're not telling you that. Or maybe $5 worth of colloidal silver. You know, it's all about the money. So, you know, these knee replacements, a lot of them could have been averted through the muscle therapy, maybe some chiropractic adjustments. You're going to say, what's chiropractic adjustments got to do with it? If your pelvis is rotated, that's going to change your leg length, and then you'll be walking unevenly and putting more pressure on one knee than the other. And then, of course, the HA Plus to rebuild the cartilage. Carol. Friend had a torn meniscus, torn cartilage.
But without telling her, they skinned off some of this bone, right? This area.
They skinned off some of the anterior tibia.
Say it was arthritis. Okay. Will that repair? I got her on HA Plus.
Well, I'd get her on the HA Plus, and if they cut some of her bone, I'd certainly put her on the Super Cal Plus. The body can heal itself. You have to understand, the medical doctors have a very mechanistic concept of the body. I don't think they're aware of this. They think it's like a car. You know, if your car gets dented, the fender, or, you know, the body, it's not going to suddenly heal itself. But if you break your arm or leg, it'll heal itself if you have the right nutrition. So your body is alive, it can heal itself. So healing's not something they learn about. They learn about treating. Treating's not the same as healing, just as a specialist is not an expert. Any other questions? Yes.
What can you tell us about reflux and?
Acid reflux?
Yeah.
What can I tell you about it?
I mean,
Well, we
what
can
should I
correct
do
it.
for Yeah.
You ought to come in and see one of our practitioners. I had a lady in today, said I cured her.
Oh, really?
All I did was pull the stomach down so the flap closes and you don't have the reflux. The reason the acid's coming up in the wrong place is because the stomach's in the wrong place. We have articles on that plus testimonials on that spindle by the food. So you ought to make an appointment. If you take antacids, that causes bone fractures and infections in your body.
Yeah.
You don't have too much stomach acid. You've got a lot less stomach acid when you're 50, 60, or 70 than you did when you were 17. Okay? It's not that you have too much stomach acid, you have it in the wrong place because your stomach's in the wrong place. We're talking about healing, curing, not treating.
Yes. Wife took a Prevacid. I've taken a
Well,
Prevacid
yeah.
every day for a year and year.
Well,
and year.
yeah, well, you're going to end up with serious bone loss
Well, I don't
if
want
you're on Prevacid. You're just treating a symptom and you're stopping your digestion. You're going to get malnourished. Yes?
How can you lower, I guess, your triglycerides and
Triglycerides, cut down on the fruit juices and sugars.
what numbers are normal for like LDL?
Well, it's all, yeah, she's asking what are normal numbers. Well, they're all made up. We're all different, so there's going to be a range. You can't say everyone's supposed to be 5 foot tall or 7 foot tall, right? Everybody's different. Everyone's got a different bone structure. Everyone's got different proportions between how long their legs are and how long their torso. You know, there's a range. You know, pygmies are 4 foot tall. That's normal for them. People in the Maasai tribe are 7 foot tall. That's normal for them. The same thing. There's going to be a range. So they're usually talking 140, 160 for triglycerides. If you think it's high, cut down on the sugars, the fruit, and the fruit juice. All right? We do have a natural product called Cholesto Care that can help lower triglycerides and cholesterol without taking drugs. You had a question, sir?
Yes. What can you do for restless leg syndrome? What do you have?
Restless leg syndrome. Do you drink coffee, tea, or soda pop?
Yes.
Which
I
of them?
drink coffee. I drink maybe 2 cups a day.
Okay, I would get off the coffee and I would start taking the Frontier Minerals and Magnesium Complete. Frontier Minerals and Magnesium Complete. And it should correct within a week. But I would get off the coffee.
Thank you.
I started getting hand tremors, drinking tea a couple times a month. And then I cut it out, and that was the end of the hand tremors. So drinking 2 cups of coffee a day is enough acid to leach out your minerals because your body has to offset all that acid with the minerals, and they take it out of your muscles and bones. Yes?
A person near and dear to me was diagnosed with celiac.
Celiac sprue, like a gluten and wheat allergy. We've cured hundreds of people of that.
But the question I have for you is the children were tested because the doctor felt that it could be hereditary. Do you feel that?
Well, yeah, there's predispositions to a lot of different things, no question about it. But that doesn't mean that it's cast in granite, okay? There's a science called epigenetics, which is becoming very popular now, which means how to improve your genetic makeup, okay? And Dr. Weston Price figured this out almost 100 years ago, that what you're eating can affect your genetics. Now, That being said, there are some people that have legitimate food allergies, like celiac, which is a gluten allergy, and we have a method of correcting food allergies. We've had hundreds of people that had celiac brew and no longer have it because we corrected it with our treatments. The doctors are going to tell you just have to go on a very strict diet. No, if they come here, in most cases, we can improve or correct it.
The person that has it, he had no symptoms like others. He had no diarrhea.
Yeah.
He had a rash on his legs. That's how it's
Yeah, well, we have the food allergy article there, and it has hundreds of possible symptoms for food allergies. Rash is one of many of them. Anyone diabetic? Anyone have sugar diabetes? Sugar diabetes, we have the Sugar Solve, which is a pill, and then we have the oranges, and we've had people actually were able to get off insulin over time, let alone metformin. Are you on metformin? Because metformin causes kidney failure. We're not telling you to get off of it, but we're saying if you follow our sugar solutions and take those two products, you may dramatically improve your situation. The doctors may be able to take you off those medications over time. Okay, well, thanks very much. I have to go do the radio. We have the free food, we have the free literature, free advice from the health experts, and the big sale. Talk to you later. God bless.